There's the right one. Dude, I put us on the three-person one. But hello, welcome. I'm Dranos. Welcome to episode 127 of the Titanforge podcast. Lost my way a little bit there in the intro, but this week we are joined by Narcolies from Team Echo.
What's up?
What's up?
How you doing?
Doing good?
Excited to be here. I'm good. It's kind of late here, but 1 a.m. ready to blast.
Yeah, classic gamer hours.
Yo.
What time is it over there? 2 a.m.? 3 a.m.?
1, right?
1 a.m.
Oh, okay. That's
Yep.
not bad. That's not bad.
No, trust me, I'm used to this. It's nothing.
I mean, you were going to bed pretty early some of those days during the race.
When Daddy Scribe forces you to bed, there's nothing you can do. What can you do?
Okay, so this week we are going to talk all about the Echo Race to World First. That's basically going to be the main topic, is just, I don't know, history, storytelling about all 4 of the weeks if you count Heroic Week, of the race, and definitely a lot to cover. And Narcolies, we have you as our expert guest, because you got to see a lot of it, and you even got to play a couple bosses.
One.
What?
Wait, was that your
trust
only
me.
pull too? So you pulled one
Trust me,
time?
it's the only one they could afford, yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty expensive. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna be honest.
You've got a special fee to come in on a boss, and yeah, it makes
Yup.
sense. Okay, well,
Just like we all remember Gahoon. That happened. Now we're just having to replay. You get one per expansion.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I guess I did. Yeah, I didn't do much more other than this expansion. I'll be honest. Yeah.
Well, Sanctum.
I've been hiding.
That was good in Sanctum.
It was good up until Sylvanas. Then it was okay, but then Warriors came in and you were like, I do more damage than you. And we're like, sad.
yeah, so just for anybody that doesn't know who you are, you're Rep Paladin main since how long ago?
I've actually been DK main longer than Rep Pal, but my Rep Pal, I became main in Legion after I looted my Biz Legendary on my first M0 that I ever did. So my guild just decided, hey, you're Rep Pal main now. I'm like, okay, cool. But
And-
other than that, I've always been Pala in general, and DK. Those are my two classes.
And how long have you been with Echo? Like, what's your guild history?
Well, I've been with Echo since it was created in this expansion, and then Method I joined in the end of Warlords of Draenor with everyone from Rapid Eye Movement, like Scribe, Noga, Deep Shades, Chris Potter, Revis. I think are the only ones. And I played with Rem for a long time, like Scribe pretty much. So I kind of just followed him, and I just ended up here. To be honest.
Easy man to follow, for sure.
Yep.
All right.
I've been.
Go.
Yep. No, that's it.
Okay, so I guess we should start by talking about Heroic Week then, which was before any of the Race to World
Time.
First streams started. Going into this tier, we had the weird thing where the last 3 bosses weren't available until Mythic Week, so we only had the first 8 to do on Heroic Week. But it was still pretty hard, right? Andu and Heroic. I don't know how much did Echo struggle with splitting Andu and Heroic.
Usually only the first time you kill it is hard, and then it's kind of just trying to make the copy of that. Like trying to make, if you need 2 DKs, you have 2 DKs in every group. You make sure of that. If you need druids, you have, trying to make every group as similar as possible. We kind of gave up the idea on that boss to actually have like helpers. That make, casuals outside like helping us and trading us because they're amazing people. But we kind of gave up on that on Anduin, I think, and we just decided to go full guild group because otherwise we would just waste too much time, and we have other stuff to do.
How were you
Have you
using
guys,
helpers? Oh, good.
I was gonna say, have you guys given up on that kind of like this whole entire expansion? Dude, Heroic's been so hard this whole expansion. I remember like the first week of Nathria, people were trying to do it without legendaries and having so many issues, and then Sanctum had Sylvanas, which was like a stupidly hard boss.
It's usually just the last boss, like Sire and Sylvanas. I don't think we had anyone helping us. I think it was full guild group. if I remember correctly. It's usually like that. The end boss usually always you just kill with the guild. Like, it's not worth spending a lot of time. Like, we even tried in week 2 to have like to have weapon traders. I think it was week 2. Like just once, and we just kept dying over and over again. We spent like 3 hours or something like that on Jailer, and we're like, this is not worth it. And that, so we kind of just like, we're not doing this. Too much waste. We can do other stuff, farming plus or more time in Mythic, you know. So usually the end bosses are never worth to have helpers in. Even if they're insane, it's just not worth, you know, the time.
Okay, now this tier, we also had the return of the set bonuses, the tier set bonuses.
Oh God.
God.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've lived this life.
Now, how did that affect the whole heroic week thing? How did that affect your whole gearing process with like the number of characters you were going to make and the plan for getting everybody 4-set or having a good chance at it?
Well, let's put it like this. We all had 4 characters. Then they announced how the 4-set actually worked. Then, you know, the officer team started DMing people one by one. Add a 5th character. Okay, add this. So people started leveling after they like announced how it actually works, because, you know, if you're a warlock, you needed more warlocks because you don't know which one's gonna be your main, and so on and so forth. So it was kind of just RNG. No one knew what main they were playing until like week 2. Like, it was the weirdest heroic week I've ever done in my entire life, because you go in and you have absolutely no idea what class or character you're playing. You're like, let's say you have 5 mages. You're like, which of these 5 mages am I playing? Oh, usually you figure it out after you kill like the raid once on each character. You're like, okay, this is my mage. Not after first heroic week. You know, let's say this mage has 2 pieces and this mage has 0. Who cares? It comes down to who loots on Rygolon or Lords. Like, that's what happened to us. Yeah, like we have people who just didn't get anything because it made like, even though you had previously 3 pieces, and then you went in and you didn't loot anything from Lords or Rygolon, you're like, what do I do? And you couldn't split heroic Rygolon. You could barely, and you could, getting even normal was almost impossible. In
on week 1,
2.
right? Yeah, or week 1
2
Mythic.
even.
Yeah.
Week 2, yeah.
Like
you saw him in Liquid tried, yeah, to get JPC as 4-set. How much?
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember how much they were paying. They were paying like a crazy
It
amount.
was like 5 mil to trade a piece.
Yeah, and in the end they didn't even get it. They found like what, 2 people, and in the end they didn't even get it. Like, it was crazy. Like, some people just didn't get 4-set. We had like, I think like 4 people in the guild not get 4-set on any character. I think it was two Druid, me and Dota. No, wait, it was 2. Was it 5? It was Servo, 2 Druids, Dota, and me. Okay, yeah, 5, I think. And everyone else got 4-set, so. And Velo got 4-set on every character, so I don't know what that guy did. I have no clue. Healers this time, I swear to God, they had higher chance of looting tier than everyone else. Even on the reclear, every healer got loot. Like, they all got exactly what they wanted. Every boss.
So wait, did heroic week just end up not mattering at all then? Was it all was it all just pretty fake?
Week 1 didn't matter at all, in my
Okay.
opinion. Sure, you got some items here and there. Even M plus didn't matter that much for most people, because like, let's say you went and farmed Ruby in week 1, now it's 255 or whatever it is. Well, week 2 Ruby is 262, which means you have to spend less Valor so you can upgrade something else as well. So then people went back to farm a higher item level trinket that they already farmed the previous week.
and
So
you didn't even
just to
know
spend-
if you were like farming for the right character on heroic week, right? Because it's like you
No,
didn't know what was your
no.
main yet.
On week 1, you didn't know.
Yeah.
It was a very weird week 1. I'm just gonna say that, yeah.
So what would you say would solve all that? Do you think just like having a master loot system would solve almost all those issues?
It would solve it, but it doesn't mean we would, you know, not go crazy. Let's put it like this. We
Yeah.
would go more crazy than we did now because we were held back by the system itself and all that kind of stuff. And also the good part, we could do it internally, which would, you know, make us have more characters probably. But Master Loot would definitely help it. I think the big part is Jailer having a token that you can use on any character, for any slot. Like it used to be, I think it was Blackhand or something, had a token, you could just put it in for whatever tier piece you wanted. That would fix it. Having a currency you get for killing raid bosses that you can eventually buy a token. That would fix it. So let's say week 2 you have enough currency to buy 1 tier, and then you go, oh, this is the tier I need. I have 3 set, but I'm unable to get 4 set unless I buy it. And then you buy it, boom, you're 4 set. So that's also a way to do it. Because back in the day, I think it was like ICC, you could use Valor or whatever it's called to buy tier pieces on normal. But yeah.
Yeah, the
There's
whole
definitely
jailer,
multiple-
the whole jailer loot thing was just like such a weird thing for I think every guild across the board. I don't think our guild even killed heroic jailer until we were already like 4 or 5 out of mythic, 4 or 5 out of 11.
Like we asked on week 1, who actually wants to kill jailer? Because if you kill jailer, you unlock his loot. Every caster in our guild was like, I'm not joining that raid. You cannot force me to kill jailer.
No, keep me away from that boss.
Like, there's no shot. Like, we had a group full of melees that the sim for the weapon wasn't fully implemented into Simcraft. So we didn't know how good the weapon was until like week 2. So most medias were like, do I want to kill this? You know, the KT weapon is pretty good. Or like a mythic weapon. So they were like, I'll kill it, dude. You know, might be good. But range people, they were like, I'm not killing that boss week 1. You can't make me. So it's definitely weird.
Yeah.
That's what they said, yeah? They're like, no, yeah, I'm not joining. So, well, it was weird not killing the end boss on week 1. Like, we had like, what, 12 people or something in the raid? It was weird. Let's put it like this.
Yeah, I remember when the whole narrative was about like, oh, these people didn't get tier, they're benched for the entire raid. You know, and then it's like,
Little
oh
did we
wait,
know.
wait a second. Also, remember when it was like, this raid is never gonna get to double legendaries, or if it does, Liquid are gonna kill it that day because double legendaries are just gonna make the boss fall over.
The double legendary thing is special. Let's put it like this, yeah.
Yeah,
One thing I know about double legendary
good
is classes being like, oh, my class is unplayable. I can't do anything with double legendary. When double legendary comes out, this class is going to be OP, this class is going to be useless. And it was like, it's not mattering. Warlocks became better even though they said they were worse. Druids became better even though they said they were worse.
Classic warlocks and druids, man. Right,
Yeah,
Tuttles?
they were. Every time, every time you mentioned, when I was like, because the server was like flaming that warlocks was going to be bad before the tier. And with double legendary, and then we called him out, and he was like, "No, I was talking about affliction, guys, affliction."
Affliction.
And we're like,
by the way.
Yeah, same,
They
bro.
buffed
Okay.
Destro. Who decided
Yeah.
to buff Destro, by the way?
Well, they were focusing on affliction. The other specs clearly were bad. I don't know. I'll trust him. I don't know, but double legendary didn't really matter. It would have mattered if jailers was easy, but jailer wasn't that easy. And DPS on Jailer was kind of not that important. Like you saw on our kill even, we had to hold DPS on phase 3. Because otherwise we would push him bad. So sure, double legendary would have made that way harder to actually get if you didn't have double legendary. But Jailer was definitely tuned for double legendary. Let's put it like this, in my opinion.
At what point were you guys in progression? Just to remind everyone when double legendary happened.
I don't actually know.
It was like 70% jailer or something.
Yeah, I don't think we did much on Jailer, right?
Yeah.
'Cause when did we kill Rygolon? What day was it?
You'd have like 2 days of jailer prog. Yeah.
Yeah, 2. Yeah.
They
so basically,
killed Rygolon on Sunday.
And you didn't prog jailer on the Tuesday. While
yeah,
NA
that was
reset.
a weird Tuesday.
Yeah.
Let's just not mention this Tuesday, okay? Like
Yeah. That Tuesday basically just
just
disappeared.
Yeah, that was a bad day. Yeah, that was our one really bad day. I think that was probably the lowest. I don't know what it was, or motivation or anything like this, but yeah, it was a bad day. Let's put it like this.
Okay, well,
But yeah, it didn't matter at all.
I guess let's start by talking about the first. So when Mythic comes out, right, week 2, start of week 2,
Yep.
and you're doing those heroic splits as your like first thing, and that's the goal there is right. Rygolon, Lords of Dread. We're gonna see who gets a tier piece from either of those bosses, so we can get them 4 set. How taxing was it to go into splits for a day and a half at the start of the tier?
I
Like
think
usually,
it's good.
usually
like-
you see like mythic early bosses being the first thing, right? And then it's like splits on Thursday,
Yeah.
splits on Friday, right?
Yeah, I think it was it. I hate doing splits like in the middle because you just want to get to progress. Doing splits early was actually pretty good because you're hyped in the beginning, so you carry that hype over to splits, so which makes splits very effective. Like if you do splits on like Friday or Saturday, you know the entire motivation of the guild just goes down. Yeah, as soon as you mention split during progress, bro, the motivation is down the drain. Yeah, it's not
Cast
like
Yeah,
you
How bad too.
I would
Yeah.
not be happy
Yeah.
about that.
you pretty much just deplete the day doesn't exist. You do splits, you don't do prog. Yeah. So doing it early was actually pretty good. You saw it instantly Liquid did it. We had planned to do it as well. Like it just made sense. Like why wouldn't you? You know, you're not gonna
How
enter
did
that
you
raid
guys
without
feel
foresight.
about? How did you guys feel about the efficiency of your splits? I think that's where, like, at least from a person that's watching the raid, it's like really easy to just like watch guilds do splits and not understand what's happening. But I think you guys made up a lot of time on your splits. Yeah.
That is, well, when you're behind from the very beginning, you have to figure out, okay, how do we actually make up time? You know, and we usually do it by splits. So we had two groups going at the same time, going crazy efficient. We have our warlocks use speed set to actually be the first ones to, let's say on Anduin, to activate the Anduin so that everyone spawns there and summon us fast. We had setups ready. We had people already in the group that are helping us. Like, I'm pretty sure this is the most efficient we have ever been on splits. And there's still improvements we can do. Let's put it like this. So,
Yeah,
I'm very impressed by our splits this time around.
I heard you had like group 1 and group 2 competing against each other to see who
Yeah.
could get them done as fast as possible. That seems like a really smart
I'm
way
just
to do it.
As a proud Group 1 member, Group 2, I don't think they've won a single time, yeah? I'm just going to be honest. I think they lost every single one.
Wait,
I
which
heard
group
you-
is group one? Is that the Mira's group?
Yeah, that's the Maris group.
We had an ongoing bit while casting that Mira's group is the anime protagonist group because he likes to put raid warnings after the kills and be like, please trade the loot to this person.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you
was-
for coming. I really appreciate it.
That was Servo's macro every time that he made it on the spot. But yeah, Group 2 was definitely in shambles. Even though they were not that far behind, they were like 5 minutes behind. Like it didn't really matter. It's just like a bit bad.
Noggy in chat goes, group 2 is Elo hell.
It was quite funny because we had there was one guy giving us the lockout. I forgot his name, but shout out to that guy. One day, and
Not that guy.
yeah, I forgot who he knows who he is. We have him on a spreadsheet probably somewhere. Group like 2 people from Group 2 had joined, and then everyone from Group 1 joined the group as well. So we pretty much shoved them out of the lockout. We're like, this is our group now. So it was some competition happening, yeah, with joining the group. Like the person who had the most people in the group would get the lockout, and then the other group had to wait until that group had the actual lockout. So it was pretty funny when that happened, yeah. And some drama. It was all good times, good times. Guild chat was great when Group 1 and Group 2 fought.
I heard that group 1 had to carry one of the group 2 people through a split at the end.
God.
Yeah.
No, it happened on 2 bosses, yeah? We had to take one of their players because they were so slow.
Oh,
Man.
embarrassing.
It was just, yeah.
Okay, so
if you have one person like mess up and you wipe, you pretty much can set that back. So it was just fun, just memes.
So after that exciting splits gets done, then we're on to the first few bosses. Vigilant Guardian, how did you feel about that one? That boss was kind of hard for a first boss, especially on that first week, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first bosses are usually way easier than that. I think the big thing is a lot of people kind of just didn't understand what happened. You know? Like, usually on the first boss, you kind of just YOLO it. But this boss, you actually have to, like, do stuff and just, like, stand in the safe zone, you know, bait this over here. And people kind of just... like, Noga, for example, was one of the people, he set that entire melee camp. Okay, everyone use the cheat death trinket. You know? so we don't die. Because Ryzen has
That's a good
rule in the
idea.
guild. Ryzen has a statistic in the guild. If we don't wipe on the first boss, we win the tier. Every time we have wiped on our first boss, we lose.
Huh.
So
What a weird stat.
So it's a stat, and it's been correct. So we didn't wipe, I think, and we won. So
Is
Wait,
that a
so we're-
thing across the board? Do you have cheat death trinkets on every melee? in case.
well, ranged people as well. We farmed it for quite a lot of characters. There was a time where we just didn't kill that boss a lot, but we got it on pretty much all the important ones. So,
Yeah. I think that is so smart for a boss like that first boss where damage doesn't matter that much once you have your gear, before
Yeah.
you go in. That is such a
Like-
good idea.
Like take in BFA Ashara for example. Every single melee pre-nerf used the opulence trinket, the one that gives you an absorb.
Yeah, the
because
shield
it
trinket, yeah.
Because how we were playing it back in the day, we went to 7 stacks pre-nerf because that's the stack you needed to kill it with before the nerf. And the shield from the opulence trinket was more health than I actually had. So
That's a good point.
it was just, yeah, when there's a trinket like that or anything that just does something, we just try to farm as much as possible and get it on everyone because, you're going to use it. Like, 100% you're going to use it. Even on PTR, it's useful, yeah? Like, it's just a good
Yeah,
thing.
to see farther into the fight. Yeah,
Exactly.
I love that.
But yeah.
Okay, so Vigilant Guardian goes down. Then we had Skolex, Dosegni, Artificer's Imox, all pretty quick. Then we got to Prototype Pantheon. How did you feel about that encounter? I mean, obviously,
just-
you weren't in until it's really
Yeah.
counted later, but
I'm just thinking about it. Well, yeah, those easy bosses, like, who cares?
yeah.
I don't know. It was kind of an easy boss. I feel
Hmm.
like it's what you expect. Like a lot of these bosses, a lot of the early bosses are kind of what you expected. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they were sort of what you tested on PTR. Not much difference. They were tuned pretty good. Artificer is we always int. I don't know why. We just can't go into circles. If that makes sense. So
Yeah.
teleporting messes with our head.
Are you
Wait,
surprised
Prototype
that
was-
Prototype Pantheon, like you needed to comp stack as much as you kind of did for such an early fight? Because like the comp that you guys had to run was fairly optimized.
Yeah. It was optimized, but it was also loot reasons, which is usually what happens on these first bosses. But it was also... This tier was very weird with classes, if that makes sense. Because what you said is, every boss was tuned for where you were, It was very weird, like, even Prototype was tuned pretty good, so playing with, like, let's say I was a Paladin in that fight, I don't have 2-target cleave. It just doesn't exist. I do no damage. Divine Storm, not that good on 2-target, let's be honest. So, if you had multiple Paladins, you would struggle quite hard on that boss. So why would you not just bring DKs and Warlocks and all these Warriors and all these crazy classes? Same with Rogue. Rogue does not do 2 targets. Why would you bring a Rogue? Just kill the boss and get it over with, Who needs a trinket? Okay, you need a trinket and you're an okay class? Okay, you can come in,
Yeah, that trinket's pretty big. I mean, I think that's probably
Yep.
the best piece of loot from any of
Well,
those mid-tier bosses, right?
Yeah, there's 2 trinkets, right? Or
Yeah.
is it 3 with the caster one?
I think there are 2 weapons as well off that boss.
Yeah,
There's a caster
survival.
weapon.
Survival.
Yeah.
And there's the two-handed strength sword as well.
Oh, there's 3 weapons. Oh my god, there's 3 weapons on that boss.
Yeah, like
why
it-
does all the loot drop off that fight? Wait a
I don't know,
second.
man. But yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, continue.
Well, so then we had Lahuvim, and then we got to the crab, the Halandras, which was not like I think anybody was expecting.
I don't know what they
there's-
were struggling with. I don't know what they were struggling with. You
Hold on
pick
a
up
second.
You pick up an egg, you put the egg down, you say, hey, can you pick up this egg? And then he says, what's up, bro? I'm going to pick up this egg and move over here and drop it down. I don't see the hard part. Couldn't do it.
Giga Chad.
I don't know, man.
So
It's a big crap.
So 350 pulls later, the egg dropper got figured out.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that was a special boss, I'm going to be honest. That was, I would say it was a boring boss to watch. Because you kind of just watched and then suddenly everyone just died and you're like, what happened? But playing the boss was probably fun. Because it was pretty tight on DPS in the last phase. Up in the last phase, kind of whatever. But yeah. I
think
think it
from-
was a cool boss.
I mean, at least from a viewer perspective outside of the race, like for me, I think that boss is insanely fun to watch. The problem
Oh, you
was
did?
it wasn't the second to last boss. And so all the hype of watching kind of happened during that boss, and then everyone kind of started tapering off for the following three until the jailer ended that progression. Because there were so many hard bosses.
It was. Is this the raid with the most hard bosses? It might actually be. I'm not 100% sure.
Almost certainly the most over 100 full fights.
Yeah.
I mean, there were what, like 3 bosses with over 300 pulls? That's nuts.
Crazy.
And Ragolon, I think, was only 200.
Only 200.
Only.
205, by the way. It only barely crested 200.
No, I like the crab was good. The only thing I want to say is, crabs work sideways. This one worked forward. That's all I'm gonna say.
I see.
That's all I'm gonna say. People.
So, like morale-wise, like how is the guild coming out of Halandras? Because at least from like a viewer perspective, it seemed like you guys lost a lot of time coming into the second reset and were kind of stuck right back at square one at 16 hours behind.
Not 100% true, because if you actually check time spent on the boss, it's pretty much the same as Liquid. The big reason why people think this is because we did way more splits than anyone else. We pretty much geared every character we could and all that kind of stuff. Like, even when other guilds were going into Mythic, we were still doing splits. I don't even think we've started raiding until Liquid was on Lihuum, I think. That's when we started raiding. So, obviously, morale is, not the highest. Our morale is always low until we get to the later bosses. Even though this boss is 300 pulls, but we're low and low, we always meme and, we never really have turbo low morale in the guild. Because we're kind of used to this kind of starts, if that makes sense. So,
yeah. I remember different. On Halandras, it was cool because, like, for a while there, you'd kind of caught up on that fight. You were the first guild to see the second phase, the first guild to see the third phase, I think, as well. And we got to see, the 3 bombs spawning in P2 was a pretty wild moment. And then the 3 bombs not spawning mercifully in P3, and we knew we would get to come home this month. To go back to a little bit of an earlier question, though, about whether it's the hardest raid and, mid-bosses ever, here's a look going back to Highmall of how many pulls each boss was. I found it on Reddit. And, yeah, I mean, you can see there's some hard tiers. Right, like Tomb, a lot of pulls from Fallen Avatar and KJ. Crucible, even though it's only 2 bosses, a lot of pulls in there. But other than that, I mean, this is a large amount of pulls starting on the 5th from last boss from Spulker.
Interesting. I didn't realize
only
that.
655?
Yeah, apparently. That's
it was
the
only
number they have here.
655 by method. Everybody else had 800 plus on that fight, by the way.
Yeah. I was like, I had weird dreams about like 1,000, yeah. But yeah, that was a special boss. But yeah.
Yeah, crazy difficulty. I mean, you can see like, Painsmith was kind of hard in Sanctum too. This was 3 times the pulls of Painsmith, and then the next 3 bosses were all hard as well, whereas in Sanctum they all fell under 30 pulls, which is absurd. So
yeah,
that's how we got to this 3.5 or 2.5 week tier. Was
pretty crazy, yeah.
All of those bosses. You ended up advancing. Okay.
Yeah. Now I was gonna say this is definitely the most unique boss, like mechanic wise. Every boss was very unique compared to most raids. I do want to say that. Like they tried it in the last tier. It was just that KT and Faith Scribe was too easy. But if those bosses would have been really hard, I could have been a hard raid, yeah.
Yeah, and like hard, where each fight is hard in a different way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
like every fight is unique and they're all hard.
It's like it's just like one person screws up and the whole raid explodes, right? Which is
we love that.
Yeah.
Definitely love that. Yep.
Okay, so you Vantis Halandras, you kill Halandras, we're on to Anduin. Yep. Anduin seemed like it was a little bit of a tough one as well for Echo. I don't know. Again, obviously you were not directly in on the pulls on this boss either, but how was it for you watching Anduin and helping out?
Anduin was okay. It was more that we didn't fail. We did the hard stuff and then we failed on the easy stuff. Like we failed on interrupting out of all things.
Yeah.
And
That's so frustrating.
Yeah, and we pretty much did everything as good as we can. We had really good weak cards for it, and everyone played good, and we never really failed on any of the weird damage checks or inside phase as much. It was kind of just weird mistakes that we usually never make. So other than that, we did play pretty good on that boss, if you take away from the interrupts and stuff. So that's definitely something we can learn and probably have to get better at.
Okay. So after Anduin goes down, then we get to the part of the raid that was sort of Echo Land.
Hold on. I think we've skipped over something very, very important with this Wicked Star buff.
Oh, sure, yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
I feel like we
Okay.
You see them this week, by the way. Oof.
Yeah, this week they were insane.
Oh my god.
They're just like in the middle of the room.
circle and just never left.
Yeah,
They were just going in. Yeah, but yeah.
those
The
Wicked
Wicked
Stars.
Star thing. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I know some people say that it was an advantage for us. That's like the big topic, right? It's like Liquid kills it, and then it's like, oh, now all the guilds can easily kill it and get to them. But I kind of don't think so. I kind of think it was, I wouldn't say advantage, but it wasn't a bad thing that they did it, that Blizzard messed up and they killed it. Because they got to see the other bosses before anyone else. And they got to actually try out a lot of stuff. And other guilds still had to kill it. I think we were probably the only ones on Anduin at the time. And I know the big thing is what Liquid said is that they had practiced phase 3. And they were like, oh, we had this good strategy for phase 3 and they nerfed it. So now our strategy is, useless and we spent all this time and we wasted it. But their strategy was kind of what we had on PTR, without flaming. So we would have gotten there and pretty much had the exact same strategy with taking the gateway and doing that whole stuff. So I don't it didn't really help us. It kind of just made us kill the boss and move on, Like, sure, we got the Lords better, and I'm not 100% sure if we would have gotten the world first on Lords without it, like with Anduin, the bug on Anduin. Because I think we got there and then we started testing Lords, and then we went to bed and came back the next day and killed Lords. I think that's how it went. And I don't know if we would have done that. I don't think we would have killed Lords as early as we did. I think Limit would have been awake, and then we would have killed it and so on and so forth, instead of them being asleep. So I think the big argument was just that they had a strategy, but yeah,
I think
it's hard to say.
The separate issue is that Liquid didn't even think they could kill Lords, right? Until they saw something that you guys did on it, and then they went back to it after trying Raglan a little bit.
Yeah, before the Enrage, it was definitely some monk-ass moments, trying to kill that. So we had this Necrolord DK tech, where you make the Necrolord DK, which was me, second on threat, or like third on threat, let's put it like this. So when one tank dies, or both tank dies, I become the target, and I go in front, so it doesn't cleave like crazy. And then you just keep rotating the DKs, because when the boss goes in Rage, he's not tauntable, if I remember correctly. So it's threat-based. So we pretty much could live a long time because of the Necrotech.
Did you actually end up using that, or did it go into Enrage at all?
Yeah, we were Enraged for Enraged for like a minute or something.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I didn't realize that.
Shit.
Yeah.
But that was also because Among Us face, But,
yeah.
Okay.
So
that's awesome.
You were like MDing the DKs, and that was getting them to be 3rd, 4th, 5th on threat, and then tank dies, Bonesmith, DPS dies, Bonesmith, DPS dies, Bonesmith. It was crazy.
Yep.
I mean, it was a fight. Good.
Okay,
I was just
saying I'm still getting
lag.
I can say. DC in the head. It's late here, okay?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say,
Ping.
I'm still getting MD'd to this day. Every single raid. I'm just gonna point it out, yeah. So.
I bet you are. That's just like never gonna leave the rogue and hunter macros just in there. Yeah, you're gonna die a lot.
You continue.
Yeah, so I mean, it was this case of like, yeah, the math does not work out to kill this boss by Enrage, right? But then you had the idea of like, okay, well, we can kill it after Enrage, right? We can live through Enrage for a while, which is very cool. It's such a cool adaptation.
It's also like, you don't think about taking the mage out. Like, you don't usually think about, okay, let's get the int buff out. Let's get all ranged classes out. You know, let's get all the sugs in and let them have fun. Let's have one warlock deal with the mechanic alone with the healers.
Was that the most? I don't think I've ever seen that many melee in a fight ever.
I don't think so.
Maybe like the Feral Nefarian thing.
Oh yeah, true.
That is
crazy.
old.
Yeah, same with Spine. You had BM Hunters and Red Paladins and
Arcane Mages. Yeah.
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 That had to be the most melee I've ever seen on a fight.
Yeah, definitely the most melees, 100%. It's just, I don't know.
Now,
It's funny when we brought back on the week 3, I think they had Boomkinen. If you scroll down on the damage meter a little bit, you know there's a blood DK right here, and then the Boomkin is probably like 100 more DPS, and then you just hear now, Lorgok, don't look behind you. And he goes, what?
Oh no,
and it's
man!
Just, when the tank says to not look at details or something, you know it's bad, yeah. So it's pretty funny.
Don't look behind you. Oh no.
So, since this was the fight you got to play, what was the process like for you? Like, when did you know you were going to be in for Lords of Dread, and how did you prep to play Frost on this fight? How much have you gotten experience with Frost before?
Well, Frost DK has pretty much been sort of the same since I don't even know. The breath has been a long time since like Nighthold, and they changed it a little bit in BFA, but it's very similar to Ashara breath. So I pretty much knew how to play around breath. It wasn't that hard. Noga's coaching, which pretty much he told me every spell to use. He was like, okay, you pop breath now, you use Lichborn now, AMS here, blah blah. He pretty much coached me like the first like 2 tries. But playing DK, it's not that hard. Like I was chilling in the red room, having a good time. Then Roger comes in the room, be like, "You're needed." And I'm like, "Really, man? Can you afford that?" I'm like, "You sure about that?" And then I come in and boss dies 5 pull later. I don't know what to do. But yeah, I hadn't even set up anything. Yeah, like I was like, "Wait, I'm need to play Frost." I thought it wasn't holy this tier. So I actually had to ask Noga. I can even scroll up in my DMs with Noga. It's literally just like he's linking me all these like weak cards for Frost. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm taking them, and you can even, if I think I was streaming, I'm taking them, I'm like dragging them into my bars, putting them in good spots, like, yeah, it was such a, Noga was like, because I was sitting next to him, he rolls over, he goes into my conduits and drags stuff in, and I'm like, I guess this is what I play now. So it was definitely like,
this is what I play now.
It was definitely like, I know how to play it, I just didn't have fully set up. So Noga pretty much hard carried me on anything to do with the character.
Didn't that character have to get like splits done for it, like right before the kill as well?
Pretty much, yeah. They needed splits. I think we did it. Did we do it while they were playing, or did we actually? I don't remember actually what we did. I don't know if the bench squad went and got me 4 sets while they were progging, or we actually stopped progging to get me 4 sets. I don't remember.
Chat, people in chat saying there was a box stop split setup with outside people. So apparently
yeah.
Bench squad.
Yeah, we did that a lot of times actually. Since we had like 10 people benched, we always had like, you don't want to stop progress, as I said earlier, yeah? Why not use the bench players, yeah? Have them do the splits for the people who need it. It's turbo genius. I think that's definitely something we're going to be... If this continues with how the loot system is going to go, thank God. Hopefully, I don't think it is.
Oh God, I got
definitely used. Yeah, outside people can definitely hard carry. Let's put it like this. Yeah, when it comes to helping people get what they need. But yeah, shout out to Noga. He helped me a lot. with
Yeah.
setting everything up.
And then you just beat him in damage, beat everybody in damage. No big deal.
No,
Easy.
no
Took his
big deal.
fame.
I'm just
drove
saying.
off in a Lambo.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, yeah. Just look at my kill of Archimon, and then you will see stuff.
I've heard Guarm is another one to take a look at.
That's Paladin. That's Paladin. That's the highest DPS anyone has ever done on that boss during prog. It's a little bit different, but it's definitely another one that's quite impressive to do. But the Archimon one especially is holds dear to my heart. Let's put it like this. Yeah.
Okay, there's a little bit of lore, and you can debunk this or double down. Is it true that you like to play the Archimon and the Guarm kill videos on the television in your apartment?
Daisy has seen them a lot of times. Let's put it like this, yeah. Making dinner, I go on YouTube, and then I put it on. Good music on those videos as well, yeah. I would recommend the Roger point of view on Guarm. Actually, it's very good. Good times.
Okay. All right. So then we get on to Raglan after the world first Lords of Dread, which I imagine must have felt really good. That was the first world first for Echo this tier.
I was sure I was gonna go at a heart attack on that 0.6 wipe. I just want to point it out real quick. Scribe didn't tell me. Oh yeah, on the 0.6 wipe we had, Scribe didn't tell me that I was the first DK to go in front of the boss. So on like
Oh
my
on like
God.
2%. No. On 2%, I'm like having a lot of fun. Bosses in rage. We're having fun. Scribe just yells, "Go in front of the boss, Narcolies, now!" And I'm like, "What the hell?" Just like instantly run ahead. And my heart rate, if I had a heart monitor on, Jesus Christ, I don't think I've ever panicked that much in my entire life, yeah? And that was like I think that was like pull 3 or something. It was, yeah. I definitely missed Nog on that one, yeah. He should have been on pull 3, because he left me on pull 2. So.
What was the energy like for that being like the first world first you guys got during Sepulchre?
Well, every time we get a world first, like mid-race, it's always... it's a turning point for us.
Yeah.
Since we're always starting from behind and we're doing so many things to optimize how to make up that time, and finally getting ahead and seeing that what we did actually worked, is very close to getting a world first, if that makes sense, on like an end boss.
Mm-hmm.
Because you guys could probably feel it, like the whole room and everything was completely different. After that Lord's kill, like it was very hype. And usually I think another thing is when we get a world first on a non-end boss, we usually don't lose that momentum. We usually keep it throughout the whole tier and then win. Like the only times where we don't win is when we don't get a world first midway and we don't see that shift.
Mm-hmm.
So it is very important to get a world first for us to have this momentum.
I think that's got to be true, just for morale. Like once you get that first one, you can keep the morale bump going, for days on end. It seems like it's really cool to see.
Then
definitely the big turning point.
You did basically the same thing on Raglan as well, which is instead of let's kill this during the enrage, it was let's kill this boss with 4 healers, despite the damage looking like you want 6 healers.
That was pretty crazy.
How did that happen? Yeah, what was going on there?
Well, the healers and Chris pretty much carried, because I don't know if we talked about it on stream, but Chris was like, I do have 4 healings ready. I had the cooldowns. We can live it. Do we want to try it out? So we tried it out. I don't remember if I think we tried it out like for 20 minutes off stream to even see if we could live the first mechanic. And it went okay. So we went to bed after 20 minutes of 2-3 pulls. I woke up and we just went hardcore on 4 healing. We had druids go Heart of the Wild, heal people when it was needed. It was not about DPS at that point. It was about pressing your defensive cooldowns correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had a raid-wide Hellstone call, for example, which doesn't happen that much. So it was definitely just a good defensive play, and having healers really carry hard. So it was definitely a cool thing. Because you saw when Liquid killed it. Like they how many times did they wipe on like 200k?
A lot.
Like, it was
At least
10
several,
or 15
yeah.
times. Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
crazy.
I,
Like,
I will say the 4 heal was really impressive. Liquid doing it with 5 heal was, in a different way, also unbelievably impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely both kills were very very impressive. It was just one of them, in my opinion, was more safe. Like the 4
Yeah.
healing would kill. In my opinion, 4 heal would get you there faster and kill it because if you don't have to worry about damage, you start playing differently. So
It's
it's
true.
just harder on the healers, and
Do you think
everything
that
else
this
is perfect.
Do you think this boss was doable without like the 6% HP nerf and then like the 25% unstable core HP? Because like the core HP, I think, is the big one there.
Dude,
Not
the 6%
even-
HP.
6%
No,
boss
no.
health
How
is
are they
like-
going to do 6% more damage? They had 6 seconds. No
I
shot.
think with the perfect high roll, I'm pretty sure they could have killed the boss HP wise. I don't know how the hell they 4 heal that boss with the.
The thing is, though, you would have to play 4 healing like you're 5 healing.
Yeah, that's
then-
the
Yeah,
issue.
you can't Heart of the Wild. You can't do any of that stuff. Like you're.
No.
Yeah.
Like Lorik was literally just. I was watching his point of view, so he was just spam healing for like 20 seconds. You can't have that. So I think it was probably possible with 4 healing. But
Pain.
you would have to live it. You would have to live it without that. And Chris and the healers, they're geniuses, so they probably, they would figure out the way. It would just take a couple of extra 100 pulls. Let's put it like this, yeah.
We would
It
still be in
just take
Germany.
more yeah, we would still be in Germany. Let's put it like this. But the core one, I didn't watch when Liquid got there. I don't know if they streamed it or not, the pre-core nerf. So I don't really know because we got there when it was already fixed.
Yeah.
Corner, so we never actually got the opportunity to try it, and I don't know the math behind it, so I actually have no clue.
It was rough because it was not only more damage downstairs, but you didn't get as many seconds to hit the new unstable matters, which was really nice, right? That you'd get those down to like 50 before you came up.
I think maybe the 25 was a little bit too much of a nerf because in the end, like you didn't really have everyone in there at all times. Yeah, like you saw Liquid even they had the melees just follow the boss. They didn't even go in the third one. They just had the range in there and they had the melees pump. So they could have.
It's so weird.
They could have not fully nerfed it by 25.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so another world first on Ragalon though, getting there ahead of Liquid. Very
That was a good one.
very good for morale. Then we get to the jailer and it's like day 12. We have like 1 day of prog on it. And then there's this Tuesday where Liquid is reset and they are starting to re-clear. And you're in this rough spot where it's like, hey, we're both kind of tied on jailer prog. But if we go and pull P2, they will learn from that, right, for free.
Yeah.
So
That was.
how did that work? Yeah.
Well, we talked about it so much. We're like, okay, so do we go hardcore progress jailer while they before they even start re-clearing and while they re-clear? Are we just gonna show them as much as we can? Are we just gonna optimize our phase 1 and phase 2, and then they get to the jailer with double legendary and fully re-cleared and insane item level, and then just use everything that we did? Or are we gonna do other stuff and kind of just give up on this day? Like, did we just FF on Tuesday? Because morale was also pretty low, because every time NA gets a reset and we don't, it's always a bad time. Like, everyone's tilted about it. Everyone's like, why is this a thing? Blah, blah, blah. So it's always the low point out of any world first. It's that Tuesday for them. Luckily, we have killed the bosses, like Sylvanas on the Tuesday. And same with Jaina and stuff like that. But
Do you think taking a day off there was like good for morale overall? Because this tier was so fucking long.
Maybe. Like it's hard to say. It's hard to say if we fully went ham that day what would have happened. But it was definitely more of a chill day. Like Scribe and Roger and them obviously didn't have a chill day. They were sitting up trying to come up with this like pixel perfect strategies and all this kind of crazy stuff. So sure, we lost polls, but Scribe and them did stuff that was very important early on, so we didn't have to deal with it that much later on. So even if we didn't progress for like 15 hours, Scribe still did a lot of work, you know, that he would have to do during those polls or like during that progress. So even though we lost the Tuesday, it was still okay, and not like doing other stuff. Like a lot of people kind of just didn't do a lot. Like a lot of people chilled. They did their weekly stuff and did them plus for their 8 dungeons or whatever it is. And had more of a chill day. So it was definitely probably good for morale, but we usually were good at keeping morale up for a long period of time.
Okay, so then the reset hits. We come back into Jailer, and over the next couple days, the prog on P2 and P3, unbelievably consistent. I have a graph here that I'll put up.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
This is the progression graph on Jailer, and look at this. I mean, look at this slope here. Every single... I mean, obviously there's a lot of P1 wipes still, but every single non-P1 wipe is basically better than the last one, right? It's like progression, all the way down, which... I mean, this must have felt incredible to be watching just the boss HP melt, especially when it stopped doing that for Liquid, when they kind of stalled out, right? They had this day of prog where just nothing was happening on the boss.
Even go look at Halandras for Echo. Like look at the difference in like even other bosses with how Echo progressed them.
Yeah. Like even here, right, you can see it's like, oh, we're still in phase 2, right? But like once we get down to Jailer, it's just like, oh, you know, once we cleared out this part, we're never going back up there, right? We're just always down in this part now. Yeah.
Definitely, I don't know how Liquid does, but Momentum really hard carries our guild. And, you know, a lot of times is about believing in the strategy, if that makes sense. We have that a lot of times where Scribe just says, just believe in the strategy. It will work. And then once you believe, like they say in movies, then you kill the boss. So it's kind of just, you know, the hype and getting consistent polls is, we were like, this is working, dude. We're doing good. And then, you know, the hype comes and people ride that hype and the momentum just keeps going. And yeah, we really do good during that. And it was a good time. I like this, good time.
I was watching Max stream a little bit yesterday, and he was doing like a postmortem, and he said that those 2 days from Echo and the Jailer were the 2 best days that he's ever seen from like a guild during the Race to World First era. Did you kind of feel the same way?
Well, I need to think about it every single day, but
yeah, let's go back. All the days
your
in our
entire
lives.
life, every single day of raiding.
Yeah, usually I just remember the bad ones.
True.
Dude.
But yeah, it was definitely it was pretty impressive. It was definitely up there. Let's put it like this. Yeah, it was it was a time where we're like, we're winning this. Like you know, no joking around. Like we're winning this. Like we are really playing good. So, you know, as soon as people get that into their head, that hey, like we're very close to killing this boss and winning. And when that gets like, you know, put in people's head and stuff like that, then yeah, it was a good 2 days. Yeah, good 2 days.
Then we saw at the end of one of those days the secret phase, right? The boss hits 10% and shields itself. What was it like to see that? Like, was that expected? I know you were on this 5% boss dies copium.
Bro, I was hoping they were gonna do like this whole like Lich King thing. The file covers the whole room. You get lifted up. Asura says, "Yo, buddy, let's go." Nothing happened. The boss just fell over. I don't know, man. They could huge opportunity missed. Yeah, I'm just saying. But I was hoping something was gonna happen. But you know, boss gained a shield, and then everyone was like, as soon as the boss gained a shield, everyone was like, "Yep, canceling everything. I'm here for another week."
And then you killed it the next day. What was the P4 prog like? And okay, the Mortal Strike stuff as well. How did all that get figured out? And how did you go about just figuring out how Phase 4 worked? Because of course you had no idea what any of the stuff, except for a little bit of data mine stuff, did, right?
Yeah, honestly, I think just hard carried by officers. Yeah, straight up. Like Scribe, like what Scribe would do, and the analyst team is they would sit in a different channel and talk and do all talk about strategy, what to do here, what to do there, while we were progressing phase 1 while we were playing phase 1 and 2. So we had Maris raid lead phase 1 and 2, Maris, he was just like, okay, Bloods 2, 3, go. In his calm voice the entire time, chill. Everyone's having a good time. Everyone loves when Maris raid leads. So, like every single for like how many minutes? Like 7 minutes. Every single pull or something like that. Scribe was away, and if you add that up for like a whole day, it's a lot of time Scribe can spend on seeing all this and figuring out how it works. And once he tells us the strategy, we're pretty good at just being like, okay, I go here, you go there, we do this. We usually don't fail on standing in certain positions, and that last phase was pretty much all just going the correct places. And if Scribe pretty much tells you exactly what to do because he spends the entire time figuring it out while you're playing, we pretty much did it pretty fast. I don't remember how they figured out the maul strike because I was kind of chilling at that point. I was sole survivor in the red room.
Yeah.
Sole survivor, by the way.
But I was talking with Grim and stuff, and he was like, "They're killing it." Grim came in and he was just like, "Boss is dead." So it was very, very cool to watch, and definitely analyst team and all that. They just hard carried.
I have a question. Have you seen the Mirrors of Torment stuff that's happened over the past couple of days from like the world 2nd through 5th kills?
I've seen some sussy gameplay in this pull. Some sussy gameplay.
Yeah. So it's every guild from what 2 through 5. Actually, I think we even had a World 6, right? Aster now have it as well. I'm not updated quite yet, but all of them we think used this Mirrors of Torment strategy where you like time a Mirrors of Torment so that it silences the boss right when it's going to shield itself, and instead of healing from 10 to 19, it only heals from 10 to 11, and you just kill it from 11 to 0.
I definitely scratched my head the first time I saw it happen.
Wild.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, wait, did they nerf the boss? Like, what's happening here? Where's the 11%? And then I see a method wipe on, like, what was it? What did they wipe on?
0.6, I think. Yeah, 0.4 or something.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait, they didn't get the hard overlap with 8 soaks or whatever it is. I think it's 8.
Yeah.
Lost the default tank knockback. Like, I'm like, wait, they just skipped the hard part of phase 4. Boss just died. I'm like, I don't know what. I was like, and they were like, it was definitely a weird thing. And the other guilds doing it, obviously, if one guy do it, everyone's gonna do it. So who cares? But
what do you think would have happened if you guys were the first guild to do it? Do that? Oof. Like, obviously you didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, there'd been a lot of drama.
It's the same thing with Anduin, yeah, with the bug. Our guild is, how do I explain it? If something doesn't go according to plan, we have certain amount of people that like to announce it on TeamSpeak that something is not working. So our TeamSpeak, if this boss would have healed to 11, not 19, I think our TeamSpeak would have been so loud and people would have question marked everything and be like, oh, what's happening, blah, 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 blah. And then we would have wiped because Scribe wouldn't be able to talk. That is what would have happened. Roger would be like, don't kill it, don't kill it, don't kill it. Scribe would be like, go, go, go. No, I'm joking. But...
kill the boss. I want to go home.
But honestly, our TeamSpeak would have wiped us. Yeah, like it would have been a mess. Same with Anduin. People would have been like, heal me, sack, and then people like, you don't have the debuff, man, you don't have the debuff, sack up. Druid's going in bear form, like it would have been a full mess, yeah. Like it just doesn't work in our guild if something doesn't go according to plan, okay? That's our guild in a nutshell. It just doesn't work. We do not play RNG. We play, how we play like Scribe puts a strategy and we play that. We can't do anything else. Weak arrow breaks, wipe. That's it. Yeah, it's pretty funny, but yeah. I don't know. So it was definitely weird. Let's put it like this. I don't know how they found it out.
Yeah, I have no idea how you'd find that out either.
Like, how do you find that out? Like, did the mage just randomly, like, did he die and then just randomly press it? Because he was like, I might as well press it, dude. Like, who cares? And then
Okay,
I don't know.
so a little bit more technical detail. Apparently, you have to have the Mirrors of Torment on the boss. It procs off the boss's final melee right before he goes into that 10% shield cast. So it's an incredibly precise thing to the point where you would never Mirrors of Torment at that point. And so I think, this is purely speculation, people knew that Artificer and Dosegni weren't working correctly if you would Mirrors of Torment at a weird time. And so I bet somebody was like, oh, these bosses we know aren't working correctly. Let's try it on this fight and see if it also works like that.
My guess is it came from like PvP, where you'd get the Druid immune trank and you'd be able to silence that. And so that was what made people realize, like, hey, this kind of pierces some immunes. But yeah, certainly some very smart detective work there to figure it out.
Yeah. Usually when something like that happens, you usually don't do it again. But like,
yeah, exactly. Like if it was an accident, right, it wouldn't happen twice for sure. So definitely done intentionally, and I mean, fair play. Really good way to kill the boss. Shame that it does get rid of the 4 to 8 dispel and everything, but
yeah, that was what we wiped it out for quite a while actually.
Yeah,
like if we would have killed, if we did the 11%, I don't know how early we would have killed it. We had a 5% wipe quite early on, maybe like 2-3 pulls into phase. We had like a 5% wipe or something.
Yeah, pull 266, and you killed it on pull 277, so 11 pulls earlier.
Yeah,
would have been
pulls earlier.
Yeah,
I don't know. It would same day, but a couple of hours earlier.
Couple hours earlier.
Yeah, it's not like oh, there's 11%. You would have never killed the boss if you had a 19. No, they would just waste. They would have just killed it like 4 hours later or something. But yeah.
Okay, we have some cool questions to get to, so I think we should jump down to there. But first, we get to thank our supporters over at the Patreon. Thanks for all the Patreon support as well. I know we missed like a whole month of podcasts, so
holy shit.
Yeah, sorry about that.
For 1 or 2 weeks max, by the way.
Yeah, I did say that. It was very wrong. So those patrons are Paul. When Tettles inevitably forgets to update the names, doesn't mean it's Nyx's birthday forever. Loot tier to trade to Liquid, can't even loot tier to acquire 2-piece, sad. Dratnos' Dino Pillow, Chromed, Trekkie, Never Nude, Chewy, Tettles, aka Tettleton expected to tell live on show everything sussy. Sussy. Did you know Tettles did do the sussy at the after party?
Did he?
Yes, he did. He did.
I didn't see it, man.
Yeah, nobody did.
Allegedly.
He just did it.
I saw it.
Oh, solo sussy dance, nice.
Delete gaming. Fuck Pops. That's messed up. Dude, I can't believe Tettles let that one through, but I guess I gotta read it. That's a bad word, though. Salty Zenny, Necros, Tankdill, Nevuk, Bread Ceratops, Sinmora, Eevee, Survival Main, No Trick, I scheduled a Tettles Flame, Dymat, Lufer, Nyx. I'm surprised the Jailer's secret phase wasn't going back to Prague unnerfed Halandras. Dude, we talked about that a lot, though. Like, just Halandras
Jailer on top,
pops out.
on top of Halandras.
Yeah.
That would have been funny. Would have been funny.
Gallic, Brusive, Dratnos Rats Abyss, Betrayal is the worst league for sure, M-Sanity, Xena, Rogue is now good enough for Prague, still bad enough to be sat for SLG, sure. Bless up. That's going to be relevant again in Season 4. That name is going to be relevant again.
Oh, don't mention it to my guild.
Oh,
now.
Dude, no, hold on. No more.
I'm not doing SLG again.
SLG again?
Under no circumstances will I be doing SLG again. I don't care.
By the way. With the bolstering.
I'm really tired. I gotta find a new game. Does anybody know any good games to play? I heard Fortnite has building removed, and that's kind of popular.
True.
Maybe I go become a Fortnite main instead.
YouTube.com/Workbringer, Alphabet Soup, Druid Friends of Evolved Gaming, #1 Simski for Trelsky, Lurka running away from chains of oppression and falling in a hole is now the most Lurka thing ever. Oof, been there. Got Flame for not interrupting an Arathi Basin comp stomp. Milk. Benil, aka YOLO Swag Crew. Looking forward to running 300 Vaults of the Warden's M+ to see maybe a single faulty countermeasure. Sife, Pone. Oh, faulty countermeasure.
I remember, dude. I was also Valor game for a long time,
yeah. What was that? The horn trinket? Yeah.
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 Cool.
Yes.
Windwalker monks deal with nerfs by rolling with the punches. Wonder and due to balance changes, Skelly is enhanced this tier. Thanks all for the support.
Oh, lucky guy.
let's do Q&A. Our first question is not so much of a question as a request, and it comes from Flex27, who says, "Tell them about the time they patched out Auto Bubble."
I don't remember that. I did not die. I survived every mechanic. And we killed the bosses. I don't know what he's talking about. He must have... Wait, is that the mage that killed all the ads on Agrimar in his trial raid, and then we wiped?
No way.
Ooh, that's a bad one.
Whoa,
hold
on. Did he hit the ads?
I think that's the guy that wiped us on his first ever raid in Agrimar.
Oh,
I think that's him. Yeah. So I don't know about this auto bubble thing. I don't know what he's talking about.
dude, on Agrimar, my guild, we were doing sales and just all the ads died one night, and my GM just started yelling at everybody like, "Guys, you gotta stop, dude! Gotta stop hitting the ads! You're wiping us!" And then we looked at the damage done, and it was all the buyer. The buyer had just been AoEing.
I remember looking over one day, and our demon hunter was over there just going to town on the ads, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
Is some demon hunter activity.
Uh huh.
All right, our next question comes from Campberg, who says, "Do you think the Asian guilds placed better this tier because they had the chance to catch up with the race being so long, or were they just outperforming EU and NA guilds this tier? First time 5 of the top 10 guilds are Asian in recent memory," which, yeah, here's the top 5. We had Skyline, of course, finishing in 3rd. Aster just finished actually in 6th. And then, yeah, we got JTH, a couple other Chinese guilds, rounding out the rest of our top 10. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, actually. Probably. Because they start like 2 days later, right?
Yeah. Then NA. They start on like Thursday.
Yeah. So probably
a little bit of both, right?
Helps. It definitely does help. The problem that I see is like a lot of the guilds outside of Echo and Liquid right now are just kind of, for lack of a better term, just copying strategies that they see from other guilds, and I feel like for a guild to seriously compete, at least on a world first level, they would have to be innovating their own strategies.
That is a big thing when it comes to world first rating, is actually having people make strategies is very different than having people copy. Because being the guy that actually makes everything and people figuring out stuff, that's usually the hard part. That's why having like a good analyst team or a good raid leader and stuff actually is kind of OP, and not many guilds are used to that. So it will be very interesting to see if we ever get a global release. Please give us a global release to see how all regions, how they actually perform.
Yeah,
like when they're actually versus each other at the same time, because we can't go to sleep and have people watch Liquid and then wake up and then be like, "Oh, they did this," and then Liquid going to sleep and then having people watch us and be like, "Oh, this is what they did." Constantly us making some stuff, then copying Liquid a little bit, Liquid making some stuff, copying us. Like it would be nice to see all regions at the same time.
I think to answer the question a little bit more directly, though, I do think that like the Asian guilds did perform a lot better this tier.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely a little bit of both, right? Like a long tier and they played well.
They definitely played well. A lot of guilds actually played very good this tier. It was for such a long tier to keep people actually playing on a very consistent schedule for a long time is very hard to actually have, because that's one of the things with world first rating is kind of underrated, is playing consistent for a long time is extremely hard, and there's not that many people that actually are good at it. So I think the Chinese guilds and all these other guilds, I think they're slowly trying to find people who are actually good at it, and yeah, impressive by everyone, pretty much.
All right, our next question comes from Nagura, who asks, "I was wondering what you guys thought about your Anduin Blasphemy Week Aura. Do you think it was worth it or not so much in hindsight?" And for those wondering, this here on the UI here, you see this like spaceship with all these red dots and then the green and the blue, which is like telling you who you're supposed to go and run and pair with. And this basically had a plan for like what every possible set of marks could be. Was that worth? How did you feel about it? Obviously, as somebody who didn't make it or was in for the boss, just from the sentiment.
let's put it like this. I hope there's not a mechanic that ever comes up that's like this. Because the time they took to make it and the time for us to test it out and optimize it, sure, that wasn't worth it, but you know, it took away some wipes that we could have had, seeing Liquid just YOLO it pretty much. So I think it's a good weaker and how they made it to go into the next tier. You know, that makes sense. It's a good like staple to have. That so yeah, making it now, yeah, they spend a lot of time, but it can be used for other things. And like Scribe said, Scribe just, I remember when they were playing the boss, Scribe was just like leaning back and like, I'm so happy about this week. He was so happy that it actually worked because we spent a lot of time on it, and especially like the weaker people and officers and all of that spent countless hours. I don't even know how many. I think it was like 100 or something. Making this for something that happened twice, by the way. I just want to point that one out.
Yeah, it's once at the start of P2, once at the start of P1, and then all the other ones are only half the raid is up anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a good thing because they can use it for other. Hopefully, they can use it for other things and similar mechanics that come in the future. And
yeah, I mean, you kind of had a similar setup for Jailer, right, with the dots and telling people where to jump. So even there, a little bit of a different, but it's the same kind of idea of like drawing it out with a diagram. All right.
So interesting.
Next question from Nixtix, who asks, do you like the length of this race to world first? Think it ran too long? What's the ideal time frame? And grats on the win.
Thank you. It definitely ran a little bit too long. Let's put it like this. The perfect tier, I don't actually know.
12 days? 13 days?
Yeah, like
The 14th day for NA.
Yeah, like boss dying on like week 2 Saturday Sunday would be my optimal. That week 2 Saturday Sunday without global release, that's what I think a good time frame is. With global release, Thursday Friday.
Makes sense.
But you know, having the global release thing, you know, I push like 1 or 2 days back because you need other guilds. You need the guilds that come later to give them some time, because usually by Saturday Sunday the 16-hour advantage that, you know, NA have, and you know, China guilds and all that usually gets like kind of irrelevant. It is still a thing, but it's less of a thing on Saturday Sundays.
Where do you guys think it lands for like a viewership perspective?
Honestly, I would have loved it. I straight would have loved it. Like, I don't know. Like, it's you know, the speedrunning thing that goes on Twitch 2 times a year.
GDQ, yeah.
Games Done Quick.
Yeah, that, and it goes on for like, I don't know, like 2-3 weeks, and it's like every hour. And I don't know. I love watching it. So some days you don't watch, some days you watch. Always there. I don't know. I think it's cool.
Phil, did you get viewer fatigue? I feel like a lot of people got viewer fatigue, and then like the secret phase came back around.
I think once we got to Jailer, and it was, I think I said it earlier, but because it was the 4th very difficult boss instead of the 2nd insanely difficult boss like it usually would be, it was kind of, that fatigue was there. But otherwise, it was still very exciting, especially at the end.
Yeah, I can definitely see watching WoW for that long of a period, and it's kind of just like Nuke. You know, if you look at Lords of Dread and Rygalon, if you don't really know what's happening, it's kind of just like they're just like doing damage. And Jailer, sure, has a lot of things happening, but if you're watching from, let's say, a melee, you're kind of just hitting boss. Like, there's not much you do at certain classes. So depending on who you watch, it can definitely get
absolutely
pretty boring.
I was watching JPC do Jailer yesterday for a little bit, and he was like, "Man, this is so boring. I just shadow step to the boss every knock. I just melee the boss the whole time." And I think Skolek was a harder boss for melee.
Yeah, and then you go to like a Warlock or something that's doing the inner soak, and they're like playing a completely different game. Yeah, they mess up one time, and you have to call a wipe almost. Like, and then they get side like it's very different on who you actually watch, but. Sure, fatigue on watching, happens with anything though, if it goes for that long.
Yeah. Oh my god,
Wait.
that was a really long time.
As a caster, honestly, I don't know how you guys did it. Yeah, like props to you. Like,
We're commentators. We're commentating on everything. We're not casting anything.
yeah, I heard
That's the secret.
some flat Azeroth theories happening, and
It's not a
Azeroth is
theory.
flat.
That's just the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just saying, yeah.
All I'm saying is, whenever I was streaming earlier this morning, I flew up to the top of Mount Hyjal, and whenever I looked out, there was no curvature of Azeroth.
No,
it was flat.
Do your own research, Narco. I haven't done my research. I can't comment. Yeah.
Wake up, sheeple. Okay, next one comes from Woo Meme, who says, "Do you think this is as bad as splits can get, or will it continue to become more degenerate with each race?"
Every time we say we can do it better, every time we say we can play more characters,
Yeah.
it's honestly up to Blizzard. If they don't want to give us Master Loader back, and they keep, implementing weird systems, we're gonna try to just optimize as much as we can. So probably this was the worst it was. I'm pretty sure.
I just pinged Grim in Twitch chat, and he immediately tags me back and says, "I hate you."
Yep. Well,
I
Grim
feel
had to find helpers and, do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So, but yeah, like, for example, the big thing when we actually had Master Loader Argus, we had, like, 2 to 3 people swap character every single boss. Because, I don't want to kill this character, but you have to be in the raid. Then you have to swap, like, every single boss. We had, like, we changed the whole raid almost. Every single boss. It's crazy optimization you can do. And we only played, like, 3 characters at that time. And if we had Master Loader now, we would play, like, 7 characters just to have them in the raid and do our own thing. And they would just be like throwaway characters that we would never touch ever, and you would never have it as a main. You just have it so you can give the loot to another guy. But this tier was definitely the most splits. I don't even know the number. Grim probably knows the number, but how many splits we actually did,
the number that was floating around was like 186 or some shit.
Yeah.
182.
Oh my god.
Having
insane.
2 groups run at the same time, it's just crazy, yeah? When I heard like some talks about 3 groups, and my brain exploded.
No.
Next tier. Group 3 coming in. They're gonna dethrone Group 1 as the best split group.
Who's tanking for Group 3? It's
Roger Brown.
Noggy and Roger Brown.
Well, yeah. I don't know. We can always improve. So if Blizzard wants to throw something weird at us, we're gonna break the system no matter what they do. That's all I can say.
All right. On that note, we will let you go now. Let you go to bed at 2:20 local time. Is there a place people can find your content, your stream and stuff?
Twitch.tv, Narcolies, and Narcolies TV on Twitter. And that's pretty much it. I stream ARM and Mount stuff and PvP.
Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back next week, probably for some M+ stuff. And congratulations to you and to all of Echo. And bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.